Hi, I'm Mahda Fouroughi, a PhD candidate at UNESCO Chair of Heritage and Value at TU Delft in Netherlands. My PhD focuses on public participation and consensus building in World Heritage Management. Values are playing an important role in our lives these days, and this is why we have many different organizations that are established to safeguard these values. Among these organizations, UNESCO is the one that is established to safeguard the values mostly related to the built environment. However, it doesn't go well always. Sometimes recognizing a city leads to over-tourism and endangers the social sustainability of the city. A famous case in point is Venice in Italy. In order to face this problem, literature suggests public inclusion in heritage management. Also, international documents suggest public inclusion. A good case in point is Faro Convention that considered cultural heritage as a resource for socially sustainable development that can happen through public participation, endorsing the public right to the heritage management. Historic urban landscape recommendation is another case in point that consider public participation as a tool for heritage management. However, the literature and the international documents rarely address the essential factors affecting public participation process. So this is why in my PhD, I focus on this issue. In order to do this, I focus on a case study, the historic city of Yazd in Iran, which was inscribed on UNESCO list in 2017. I chose this case study because I have access and knowledge about the city as it's my hometown. The main goal of my project is to reach a maximum consensus on the values and attributes of the World Heritage Cities through a public participation process involving digital technologies. I broke down my main goal to 4 issues: critical factors, key interest groups' perceptions, the conflicts among them, and lastly, reaching maximum consensus. My research questions follow my research goals. The main one is how to reach a maximum consensus on the values and attributes of the World Heritage Cities. And the others follows the 4 issues. This is part of the framework of my PhD. In the first work package, I did a broad systematic literature review to find out the factors that affect this process of public participation to reach consensus. Then the second and third work package, I focused on finding out the opinions of 4 main stakeholders: residents, tourists, authorities, and experts. I used Instagram, policy documents, and literature to find out the opinions of these groups. As my data was relatively big, I used artificial intelligence and precisely natural language processing techniques to analyze this data. I'm going to explain my method a little bit more. We use words to express our opinions, and this is the base of my method. I did text classification and I used the framework of values developed by Professor Anna Pereira-Roders to code the values in my text. I brought this exemplary quote to make it more clear. I'm going to read the first one loud. We're visiting one of the most beautiful viewpoints in the world. From Art House, you can see a panoramic view of Yazd and its magic, windcatcher, and dome. My mother recognized aesthetical value for this quote because of the word beautiful. Also, it recognized the attributes in the text. I used this model for analyzing all my data. Of course, I did other analyses except for coding the value classes. I code the class of attributes, the association between these classes, the association between the most frequent values and attributes, emotion analysis, how people address the emotions to different values, and also how different groups of stakeholders address to different values. This is very important because this is the moment where I can see the agreements and disagreements among different interest groups, and it helps me to reach consensus later on in my process. In my project, I try to respect public rights relating to cultural heritage as Faro Convention advised. I'm doing so by exploring the opinions of heritage communities and engaging a wider audience. Of course, when you have a wider audience, you will have conflicts and agreements, but this will help us to reach a consensus. And doing so help us to promote sustainability and access, especially using digital technology. I'm using digital technology to facilitate inclusive heritage management. I'm using social media as a complementary data source to other conventional data sources like interviews, literature, and policy documents. I'm doing so because social media platforms are easily accessible to everyone, and people are developing online discussions around heritage, about heritage in social media. So why not using them in our work and finding out the opinions of public? For example, if you search hashtag Faro in Instagram, you will find out almost 2 million posts on the city. So my methodology not only can be applied on my case study, but can be applied on the city of Faro and also all the cities around the world. Thank you so much for listening to my presentation, and I hope to see you in the conference soon.